So, you ready, Weronika?
I am ready, thank you.
Go!
Okay, so welcome everybody. I think most of you actually have worked on this project, so this will be not discovering America or anything like that. But today I wanted to summarize a little bit the project that we submitted to the Horizon Call. We actually submitted 4, but this one was kind of like our baby. This is the one we worked most on, and we were the most involved in the writing process of that. And I also wanted to share like some of the timeline, like the difficulties that we had along the way, and also the lessons that we learned from it. Okay, so this was submitted in the Horizon Europe Call in Cluster 6, which is about food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, and the environment. And there are, I think, 7 or 8 different topics. We were in topic number 5. Which was resilient, inclusive, healthy and green, rural, coastal and urban communities. So we began working on the concept in September of last year. It was September, right? It wasn't before. So the deadline was 28th of October. I don't remember if it February. And I remember we were waiting until they opened so we can actually see the documents.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
so like we wanted to see the how many pages, because it was supposed to change and so on. The formula, how you apply for the funding. In total there were 43 proposals in this cluster and there were 15 in our topic. So what is the chances?
How many they pick?
2.
Yeah. So there will be like because the budget is 12 million, so I suppose it will be just 2 topics that will be awarded in 2 projects, yes. And it is to be announced in June of this year. This is what the official website says, so a few more weeks and we should know. So the initial concept, the one that I was not working on so much, I think I was like in the very late meetings, was to be about urban farming, community, but everything was supposed to be like community-led, and also combine innovation and ancestral knowledge. That was like the initial idea, and to reformulate it and find this kind of like new knowledge in the combination of innovation and ancestral knowledge. And of course, focusing on nature-based solutions. So nature-based solutions are basically when like you tap into the whatever dimension of nature to solve some kind of like social problem or an issue. It doesn't have to be like a problem, but maybe even improve something. It doesn't have to solve particular problems. And from the beginning, it was also an idea to combine this knowledge into a big data platform that other people can get the information from, in the line of like sharing data and improving, like having a wider impact, and a green exchange platform. So the title in the end was, I think I copied as well, right? Okay, should I say what happened or should I not? No?
Please don't.
No. So the title is Harvesting the Organic Trends for Green, Equitable and Resilient Environments through Co-Creation and Upscaling of Nature-Based Solutions within the New Generation. And that's why the acronym is Here Now, and the hashtag is the symbol of like the new generation, because they use hashtags all the time. And this is why we have focused on Generation Z, which are like the youngest, not the youngest like baby kids generation, but like the youth of now. And why? Because they are actually one of the most environmentally conscious generations up till now. They care very much, and they are also the future of this planet. They're going to be like they're becoming one of the most involved, actively involved in creating the future for the planet and the policies and the business models and all that. Okay, so this is, I don't know, it's probably not very easily readable from the distance, or is it?
It's okay.
Okay, yeah. So the idea is that the earlier generations here have failed to address the climate change, and even with lots of talking, not much action, we are still kind of continuing with the same discourse of like, we need to do something or the planet is screwed, let's say. And the idea is to do local, like the idea is to do nature-based solutions that are local. So they are local, but they have the potential to be applied on a global scale. And also, the idea is that the governance is going to be actually given to the young generation. So going away from this top-down model and giving it to the young people and learning and letting them discover like new forms of governing nature-based solutions. And I will talk a little bit about like these international pilot studies. After like doing a lot of pilot studies, the idea is to gather all of that information in a big, like asking so many questions about the performance of these solutions through, I don't know, how many were there, like key performance indicators? There's like 50 or something. So it will give us a lot of data to gather and to actually have some answers and solutions and guidelines for the future. So that will be the DAV platform. What DAV stands for?
Data analysis.
I don't even remember.
You don't remember?
Analysis, visualization.
Visualization, yes. Data analysis, visualization. So the idea is that it's going to be a lot of data presented to the public and the decision makers in a very accessible way, visualized, right? The data will be visualized, not just quantified, but visualized as well. And also, apart from this platform, we want to have this kind of like green exchange for the produce, because there are nature-based solutions that will be like fresh produce, so they will be able to exchange the products. And also we will be filming a very cool documentary. Yay! Like,
that's what we're most excited about.
We're still up with Netflix.
I'm already subject.
oh, maybe, yes. Yeah. So there are 20 organizations in this consortium, and the coordinator is University of Vigo in Spain. We have people, we have organizations as well as aside from us being NeuroLandscape being registered in Poland. We have the city of Krakow, that's number 8. We have Poland. Yeah, we have Poland, Denmark, the UK, Italy, Portugal, and Bangladesh.
Chile.
And Spain.
Chile and Spain, yeah.
And UK.
Yeah, in the UK there are like 2 organizations.
And Belgium.
Oh, in Belgium, yes. In Belgium.
We
So
have
you can see it's even hard to keep track like of all of the countries, but it's going to be very rich collaboration once it comes to fruition. So the goals and objectives are to understand, first of all, to understand the Generation Z's perceptions towards nature-based solutions, because we don't want to come from the perspective of like, we know what you think, right? We first have to ask with an open mind. To increase the uptake of the nature-based solutions, so we don't want it to be just lasting the 4 years that the funding is there. We want it to be available afterwards and really have the uptake. To improve the eating behaviors and the quality of nutrition, because as you will see, there will be some like ecological production of fresh produce in one of the pilots, or two?
Well,
Two? Yeah, well, a lot of the things, you'll see.
two and three, because ones are two locations with one pilot.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Of course, one of the broader aspects is to help to mitigate the climate change for future generations, and also to improve mental health and well-being of people, because being involved in activities that involve nature connection certainly have that potential to improve well-being as well, and to share and exchange that data with the wider scientific and non-scientific community as well. Okay, so the first pilot, well, not first pilot, just by number, and the order is kind of arbitrary, will take place in Genova in Italy. And the idea is to create an urban apiary, so it will be like there's many wastelands around the city, because it used to be heavily industrialized, and now it's kind of like going away from the industry, so there are many wastelands to be used in the city. And also, I forgot to mention, during the project we are trying to address many of the social problems that are very local. Let's say to every community, every pilot will have some kind of a different social aspect that we are going to try to address as well. So in Genova, it's immigration. It's one of the highest levels of immigration in Italy, and also aging population, very old population. So the young people, they need tools and ideas that we are going to give them, and then they can develop it themselves. So the idea is to go back to the original idea of upkeep of the ancestral knowledge as well. So beekeeping is an old, ancient tradition, and they can develop, like the pilot participants, they can develop new and more innovative ways of using that ancestral knowledge as well. Another pilot will take place in Denmark, and this is going to be like a mini greenhouse. It looks like a big plastic or glass box, and the idea is that it is fully programmable, so you can control absolutely all of the parameters of the environment inside, and people can learn from it. About like how a difference in half a degree of Celsius temperature can influence the growth of, let's say, lettuce or whatever plants will be grown in there. And the opportunity is to teach about climate awareness, and of course STEM education. So because there will be the aspect of coding the machine, and it's going to include actually neurodivergent people. So we have established collaboration with autism associations and so on. Another pilot will take place in Poland, in two locations actually. In the south of Poland, which is very traditionally heavy coal mining industry area, where it's like concentrated in that area. And now with the green transition, they're moving away from that because we're obliged by the current situation. We need to move on to different ways of producing energy, but also finding the opportunities for the young people that would have before went down that road. And the solution is a shipping container that has been refurbished to grow fresh produce inside. So it's hydroponic, they grow on the walls like lettuces and so on. and it's very energy efficient, water efficient. It can be placed anywhere in any climate, any conditions. You can control it, and it's about the, it's a recycled shipping container. So that's one of the aspects of helping the environment a little bit, and also more sustainable. In like the cold climate in Poland, buying lettuce, you don't want to bring it from Spain, it can be grown there, and so on. And also we're going to, with the social aspect, we're going to focus on inclusivity. We have like LGBTI plus communities to include there as well. Pilot number 4 is going to take place in Bangladesh. And even starting to talk about the problems in Bangladesh, it's a country that is as one of the highest risks for climate change disasters, with the rising sea levels, salinity intrusion, like not hurricanes, but like monsoons that are getting much more intensive, and of course poverty, gender inequalities, and so on. So there are many organizations already working in the field, and we will be joined by them. And the idea is to find local solutions that we cannot name at the moment. It's called climate resilient sustainable agriculture, and there are many things that the local communities are doing, like finding seeds that are more resilient to the salinity and so on, or even preserving the seeds that are being lost because of the salinity intrusion. So there are many things that can be done, and we will let the young people actually design their own sustainable agriculture solutions, and they will be testing them and learning from them. And also there will be really strong, like, how do you say? I don't know. We will focus strongly on the idea of the green exchange. So like the produce, because it's such a high collectivity community, like on the scale of individualistic or collective cultures, we want to tap into that also, that connection and sharing of things. And the final pilot is going to focus on constructed wetlands. Wetlands have a very, very, like one of the highest capacities for CO2 sequestration, but the focus here is on areas that are prone to drought, fire, and just like water, I suppose, vulnerability, like in Chile, because they have to bring the water from the high mountains. So if anything happens along the aqueducts, it can leave the villages in the lower valleys without water for extended periods of time, and really like lose their full crop for the year. So there's that water resilience issue, and it's going to be run in Spain and in Chile. So the Chile is already living through the water scarcity, and the Spanish area is on its way. It's also quite vulnerable to heat and frost and just the extreme temperatures. And it's going to focus also on the educational value for girls. So the gender equality will be stressed here, and the science side of the wetlands. So as I promised, I was going to talk about the timeline, which I got wrong, I'm sorry. But like, let's say from May until September, it was the kind of internal conceptualization of the topic. And on the 1st of October, we actually made the first contact with Mario Pansera. And this came about because we had a meeting, and somebody mentioned circular economy, and I said, wait, I know somebody who is an expert in the circular economy. It's like, he lives in my village and his daughter goes to swimming lessons with mine. And he was like, oh really, what's his name? And we checked him out on LinkedIn and everything. It's like, wow, he is the shizzles. Come on, let's get in contact with him. So like by November, like this is where the first contacts and emails exchanged. And like a month later, he said, okay, we can coordinate it. And then, unfortunately, Diana, who was like the internal leader of the project, she had to leave due to health issues. So we were left with like decision to make what to do, if we're going to back out or continue with the new direction. And Agnieszka stepped in right away. So like, look, on the 9th of November, Vigo agreed to the initial concepts that we sent them. And like 10 days later, we had a different concept. This is where the first Generation Z idea came up. So it's like in 10 days, we had a different like internal leader, Agnieszka took over from Diana, and a different concept. Like on 1st of December.
That new concept was born together with Ola in a Portuguese bar on the beach.
See?
Yes.
Yeah. So like on the 1st of December, we sent them already the first draft of like the full concept. Was like 5 pages. It was pretty long, right? Or 3? I don't remember.
I don't know. We're on fire though.
Yeah.
This on fire.
So then January, like between December and January, was a really intensive month of writing. And the consortium was complete only by the 1st of February. So it was like 3 weeks before the deadline. We only then got like the final Italian, do you remember the Italian?
And Spanish as well, like at the very end, in Chile.
And communication.
Yeah.
Production
company. Yeah. So it was quite a long process as well to make sure that everybody had, everything was covered. The last edits by the consortium were on the 11th of February, and then it was all down to us to get it perfect. And we submitted it 4 days before the deadline. So the lessons we learned. So starting early is not the key for success, but it helps, right? Because we had the experience of another project that we were conceptualizing, and it died off after Christmas, like around Christmas, right? And it's not a key for success starting early, because we were talking with these people from September as well, like having meetings and so on.
But success meaning submission.
Submission, yes.
We still don't know the concept.
We still don't know that.
Yes, no, but submission is
granted.
Yes. For successful submission, that's what I'm meaning. Yes. And we really had a great interdisciplinary team, and we had no internal conflict, and I think that's because everybody knew kind of what they're good at and where they can contribute, and the division of labor was really quite even, and there was nobody like picking up somebody's slack, and we're really looking out for each other. I remember there was one time that we were looking to make the icons for the different pilots. I don't know if that, okay. And I think it was Nazwa who said, okay, I can do it. And we just said, no, we need you to be okay. And like, we looked after her and said, because we saw the messages that she was sending. It was like, Nazwa, it's 3 a.m. for you, go to bed, and so on. So we're really looking out for each other as well. We said, no, you're not doing it. We can let other people in the consortium do it. This is their job. This is what they do. And they did a great job too. So we had great leadership and support from Agnieszka. I also thought the emails were, there were not too many, like the emails that you sent to the consortium and the messages that we had between ourselves, they were all like, it wasn't like I think only Theo was tired when, he would wake up and there were like 300 messages in the
Class.
class
Overnight.
because we had like conversations. But like, I mean, I didn't find it tiring or anything. I don't know, how about you?
The emails were fine. WhatsApp was not.
The WhatsApp was not, because perhaps it's not your preferred tool. For us it was good because it was more immediate, the answer, right? And we were like, I need to know, are you doing this or whatever, right?
Up until the point I was following it. I was not talking in it, but I was reading them and answering. From a point and after I couldn't follow.
Yeah.
It was specific, you know, like you needed a point, like who's looking for that, like do you have this information?
But to be fair, we were more involved in the writing. Like Theo was good, like giving us like pieces of information that needed to be included, but we were like the
You did
the meat of the project. Yeah. And also sticking to a timeline, that was thanks to Agnieszka, I think, because you know, when you have so many people, if one person is behind, it just drags on. And she was like, no, we need this by this day or whatever. And also we took lead on the administrative tasks. So we didn't expect like all of the 20 members to go and fill in their information on the participant portal. And we took the lead and said, please send us the information and we will put it in. And I thought we did that quite well, and it was like really, like we could control it. So there was no that some people put in like really small projects because there was a space to put in like the projects that they were involved in, and they could put in something that was not valuable to the project. So we could control that. Also, colors are an open category. This is something that we learned when we were choosing the colors. Do you remember when we had to choose the colors?
Yes.
And okay, so these are the colors of here now, right? Okay.
It's the one that is green, right?
Yes.
Right.
No. And you said we sent the message to Mario. It's like which there were like 3 options of the logo. One was like really strong green, and said, which one do you like? He said the gray one. And
like, which one's green?
So it's like, you mean this one? It's like, yeah. Blue. It's like, it's blue. Anyway. And then we also, towards the end, we had this, with Agnieszka, we had this talk about trusting nobody. And I think that's something, I don't, it sounds bad, but it's really like, once you take control, like when you're in charge, really just be in charge. And like, even if you give tasks to other people, you just read through it or whatever and make sure that it's perfect. Any other? Do you want to share any other things you learned?
Learned a lot.
Learned a lot. I think we only realize it now because we were so like preoccupied and like really focused on it that only I think with the perspective of time, like you see what we actually did. Honestly, first time I'm seeing this like from a different perspective.
Yeah,
like we did a cool project. You didn't see it as a whole thing because we were working on so many parts that you didn't feel like it's wholesome. Meaning it was, but like you had those divisions. Like okay, we do this pilot project, and now we can see it like as it all makes sense, like the whole project, and it's really nice.
It's really good. Nice.
And I learned something too about our team. We have really an amazing team. We kind of maybe didn't realize that we have capacity to do something so big.
Yes.
And it's such a good to call it actually.
Yes, I can tell you that
a lot. That kind of work that we did. It's amazing. It's tremendous amount of work, overwhelming work that we did in that team.
Yes.
So
I can tell you that also Mario, who is the coordinator, he was full of compliments for us as well. I remember just him talking about us in third person because my husband was sitting next to me, and he just said, you know, they did such a great job. Okay, that's it. Thank you.